Hey, how we doing today? So today I'd like to make a video talking about a few subjects. First of all, where we're at energetically with this eclipse, the second eclipse this month that just happened. And I feel like it's a closing out of old cycles, of old chapters of our life, and stepping into a whole new chapter, which has been a process that's been going on for quite a while, as many of you have experienced and are aware. But 2025 is a time and a message that I have got for many years now, that it's a significant choice point, so to speak. And I've got further clarity on that. Basically, humanity right now is at a choice point of what road to take a higher timeline into self-realization, in an evolved, rapid ascension, so to speak, or to take a lower path where you might not get it right this lifetime. You might have to come back to either this planet or another one to continue your evolution of this third dimension. And so it's time to let stuff go that's holding you down. Old patterns, old ways of thinking, old belief systems that aren't serving you. You know, all of the above. And so I've spoke about this term before called the hollow bone. It's a term that the natives use for when your vessel is empty, for when your lower mind is out of the way, where your emotional body is healed and balanced, to where your chakras are balanced, to where your nadis are open. You're able to perceive higher information, to where your vessel is clear, and it can be called empty. And in the Vedic terms, this is called no mind, because your lower mind is out of the way. So when you become the hollow bone, energy can flow through you unimpeded by blockages that I've just mentioned. And it can also take the form of energetic blockages that are in your different power centers as we go up and down the spine. But see, they're connected to the mental process and to the emotional body. And, you know, trauma is stored in the body and tissue as well. So as we do this work, and reach these states of becoming empty, energy can vortex through us unimpeded. Okay. Now I'm sure plenty of you have seen in out-of-body experiences, through medicine work, through meditation, that everything is vortexing energy, that everything is spiraling energy. And if you can really view your light body and your vessel, you'll start to see places where it's impeded and where the flow is being siphoned off and to where your field is scattered. And, you know, this opens up an opportunity for entities to come in and feed, and that's just how it works. Okay. But when we're sovereign, and when our light body is healed and not leaking energy, nothing can feed on you, and they're able to connect to the higher streams of consciousness as it spirals in from the top, and then it spirals in from the bottom the opposite direction and meets in the heart center. This geometry starts to form around your field, and it is the Merkaba. Okay. And as it spins faster and faster, it starts to transform from just the regular tetrahedron with one inverted upon itself into a more complex geometric pattern, and so until it reaches the 64 star tetrahedron, which is what is right here. And so furthermore, upon that. And there's more layers beyond this, okay? And I've had this experience. Through knowledge of self, through self-realization, we become the universal tree of life. And those missing nodal points on the Kabbalistic tree get filled in once we realize this is the hall of mirrors and this is all a projection of the mind. And everything is me. This is all a reflection of me. We become the universal tree of life with 12 nodal points and connect back into Creator Source. And now we're tapping into the stream of the true I Am, the Supreme Parabrahman from outside of this universe, inside the central sun, from Creator Source, from the one that you are a fractal of. And so recently I've had this experience. I was out there the other night, and the Arcturians were out there in the sky, and they were flashing and speaking to me. And so I was wanting to connect with them more and hear them better and work with them more. And basically they told me, by doing this inner work, by becoming an empty vessel, by becoming the hollow bone, we elevate our frequency onto a higher plane, and then we're able to connect with them more, because they meet us halfway. A lot of people are looking for the work to be done for them, to get a bunch of healing sessions, and not to, they're not doing the work, and that's a problem. And so everyone has these abilities to access these frequencies. And by getting clear, by clearing out these blockages, we elevate our frequency and we meet them halfway. Now, we are the creator of our reality. As I have experienced, as I have been shown by the higher force, which is a remembrance, because I'm tapping into higher aspects of myself. And so while lots of messages come from the star people, from the angelic realms, whatever you want to call it, as well as beings inside the central sun that are outside of form and outside of this universe, the main information comes through from a remembrance of the I Am. And I've been shown and experienced that our thoughts and our emotions and our focus feeds and creates. In the higher realms, it's instantaneous. And so you get it. You're like, oh, what I'm focusing on is the steering wheel. That's where I'm heading. That's what I'm creating. Down here, it's so dense, there's a lag effect. And so it's hard to correlate it together. But it applies down here as well. And this speeds up once, like I was saying, once we become the hollow bone and we free up these blockages, manifestation happens quickly. And so there is a common misunderstanding that people think that they can bypass universal laws and be like, well, evil doesn't exist because I choose to not even look at it. And unfortunately, that's not the case. Light and dark do exist. Okay? What we focus on feeds. But we have to be in a place of seeing all, of seeing both sides of the game board, of seeing both sides of the coin, in a space of neutrality, unattached. And then we put our focus on what we're actively creating and feeding on those timelines. The heaven on earth timeline. So a lot of people are taken out of the present moment by being stuck in the past, by replaying past events, thinking that they should have turned out another way, and it's affecting their emotions. And so they keep replaying patterns to try to find closure on the situation. So a lot of people are taken out of the present moment, because that's all that there is the eternal now. In the higher dimensions, there is no time. It's circular and any point can be accessed. Only down here does it appear as linear time and perceived through linear time. And so really all that there ever is the eternal now. And so if we can bring our focus into that, that's where the power is. A lot of people are stuck in the past or stuck in worry of the future, which takes you out of the present moment. And so a lot of people are replaying old situations because they can't find closure upon them. And it's doing you a disservice. And so sometimes you need to go deeper, whether that be through deep meditation and spiritual practices or through the medicine work to release this trauma, this memory that's stored in tissue, literally, and etherically, these blockages in your center. But at a certain point, it'll all make sense, and you'll be like, that was the lesson I needed from that. Sometimes it's karmically related. Sometimes it's a major lesson in your growth. And you can get to the root of it and release it. And so a lot of people are stuck in blame, blaming another person, which is victim mentality. Because every situation, takes two. And maybe something happened where you weren't to blame, but maybe it ties back to a past life. Maybe it's karmically related. At a certain point, clarity will come, and you'll be able to release that and to pull back the fragmented consciousness to return to the present moment. Now I'd like to talk about unseen forces. Whoa, there's a butterfly right there. That was cool. Came like right next to the camera. So I'd like to talk about unseen forces, both light and dark. A lot of people want to be like, oh, well, if I don't believe that they exist, it won't affect me. And unfortunately, that's not the case, because we live in a world of duality, and these things do exist. And sometimes the brighter your light shines, the more moths you attract to the light. And you go through initiations and past certain tests and realize that from a lower perspective, there's absolutely spiritual warfare going on here. But from a higher perspective, these entities are attached to leaks in your field, to certain actions, to certain behaviors, to certain beliefs, to emotional patterns, to old trauma, and so on and so on. And so as we unravel these layers and heal these things time at a time, we learn lessons about taking our power back. And so they're actually teachers from an inverse perspective. And so from a higher perspective, you can see both sides of it and see, from a point of neutrality, it all serves a purpose. Because if we're stuck in a polarized way of thinking, it is feeding this spiritual warfare belief that can intensify it, because it's putting out the energy and the emotions that, oh, I'm not safe and this world doesn't support me and everything's here to attack me, which is bullshit. So you got to throw that belief out. View everything from a neutral perspective. And back in 2016, my vision was activated. And I'm talking about my actual eyes vision, to where I started to see spirits with my own eyes. And everyone has this ability, and it's in the peripheral. But, as we unlock more layers of our DNA, it starts to activate into your full-on vision, and it starts to activate, night and daytime. And for a while, I was I was seeing black orbs all around me because I had to clear through these layers, and I would see them on other people, and I'd see them go inside people, and then I'd see them start acting crazy, and I'm just seeing what's behind the veil, and this stuff is all around, and then the light orbs come through and swoosh it out, and so all this stuff is happening all around you all the time. I've seen them fly through the air and go in through roofs into other houses and cause chaos and feed off it. And so there's a whole lot of stuff that happens all around us. And so not reacting to it, but just observing it is a powerful place to be in. And then you see the purpose that it serves. And at a certain point, you build up your energy body so much that it doesn't affect you anymore. And then sometimes you reconnect with people from the past, and they're still going through it, and their energy is scattered, and they're stuck in these loops and attacking and narcissistic, and you realize that you would think everyone would grow, right? I'm a different person every day, but sometimes people don't. And so you gotta let that go. So now I want to talk about the situation on this planet. I guess I'll start with some Earth history. So a long time ago, before the destruction of Maldek, this planet was closer to the sun and had more of an atmosphere of Venus, to where the oceans, the waters were in the sky. Okay, when the destruction of Maldek happened, the gravitational fields of the orbits changed, and this planet moved into the position to where it is now. And the moon was brought here. The moon is artificial. It was put here to stabilize everything around this time frame. And during this time frame, the ancient builders were here, and they terraformed the earth. And there were many different nations here. Some of them were good, some of them were not. Some of those nations were from Sirius, some of them were from Lyra, the Anahazi, the feline races, and also the Elohai Elohim Council, which I've interacted with. And then at a later date, the Nibiru group came here, which is the fallen Elohim Council, which are the ones that we know about that have stayed here. But there was groups that left that never fell, that are now returning. And there's a lot of the same genetics going on here. Some of them fell in genetics and became parasitic. And we're still dealing with this situation today. And it's been going on for a very long time. This light and dark battle, back to the wars of Lyra, the wars of Orion, Maldek, the Pyramid Wars, and so on and so on. But originally this earth was set up as a school. And then kind of turned into a soul harvesting trap by the fallen forces that are here still. And so I've had some people comment and ask about the soul harvesting trap, and for me to speak upon what I know about that. And it is a thing. Okay, the star people have told me this. I've seen this in visions. During near-death experiences and through breakthrough medicine experiences, I've gone outside of body, and I've gone all the way into the central sun. And I've seen how the original system works, okay? How reincarnation works. When you bypass this soul trap, and you do this by doing your inner work and being sovereign and being the hollow bone and self-mastery, then you have the activated soul genetics and the senses, the higher senses, to know what's what. And you don't have karma. You turned it into dharma, and you're living your purpose. And you pass the tests of this school. You won't be tricked into coming back here. Okay? And so it's like a frequency thing. They don't have anything to connect to. And if they do try to get in your way and say this, this, and this, and I'm God, or it's like, you're not God. I've met Source Creator, and it's not a being. It's not in form. It's not a male. It's not a female. It's a point of light inside the central sun that once you reconnect with it, your cosmic memory is returned, and you're like, oh, I know this. I'm from here. I'm a fractal of this. Then all false stuff, you see it for what it is. Anyway, what I'm saying is once you go inside the central sun, you've been there for eternity. Your cosmic memory is returned. And it's eternal bliss. And you're instantly healed. And then you get to choose if you want to come back and continue in what incarnation you want. Or you can stay there in infinite bliss forever. It's literally up to you. But that gets boring because we've literally done that forever with no beginning or end. And so you want to come back, right? Knowing that you can get trapped in cycles of karma. Now, that being said, there is an organic school of consciousness here on this earth still. That you have to become self-realized to complete this school, right? And I've seen souls, I've been inside the central sun and seen souls passing through that still had some karma to deal with, so they knew they had to come back. It was their choice when they could stay in bliss for as long as they want, but there was still lessons that they had to learn. So they had to come back eventually. And you do get a life review after this. And I've had that before, and it was with Shiva and Shakti, or Parvati, the different facet of the goddess. Shiva is just one aspect of the multifaceted Godhead, and Parvati is another, Lakshmi is another. There's many different facets of Mother, Father, Creator that is inside this universe, okay, that are of the organic school of consciousness, because they're not God, they're just a level upon the way of the Godhead that's still inside this universe, of this organic school of consciousness. Once you go inside the central sun, that's where you meet Source, and it is you, and there's no separation. So that being said, there are a group of beings that will give you a false life review, and this is the Nibiru group and their shapeshifters, and Draco, Reptilian, and a whole bunch of different archonic stuff going on. And they'll try to tell you have to come back because of this, this, and this. But it's a false layer. It's the moon matrix. It's not in the higher realms. And self-realization, you'll know the difference. So just don't even put fear into it. Just do your work and you'll know the difference. And so some other people have asked me about Rh negative blood and what that is. And so basically, well, there's two sides of it. Back in 2016, I had a literal face-to-face with the star people, with the Elohim Council. And I asked them for a face-to-face, and I got it. And they came into my room, these 7-foot-tall light beings. And they stayed for 2 hours. And during that time, they told me that the Rh negative blood is from Lyra. It's from the Elohim Light Council, which is the Elohai Elohim one. And they also showed me that even the dark side has Rh negative blood. Okay, so it's the same genetics on either side, from the Elohai Elohim Council that never fell, to the Fallen Council, to the elites and the Rh negative bloods and their secret societies and all that stuff. Both, it's the same genetics all the way through. Just certain beings that became parasitic and cut off their higher nodal points from source and gone into this Kabbalistic system that keeps everything in a loop, a universe within a universe that feeds off being parasitic rather than the infinite, eternal light source from source. So RH negative people tend to come in with a higher amount of their genetics activated, with intuitive gifts, with clairsentience, clairaudience, yada, yada, yada. They come in intuitive for the most part. And this doesn't mean that people that are RH positive are any less than, because I know people that are RH positive that are extremely advanced. Okay, and so everybody has these star genetics. Okay, we have 23 different species of star nations within us, also mixed with the Anunnaki. We even have the fallen genetics in us. So it's a process for everybody to go through and reconnect those nodal points and rewrite the fallen DNA. And they're trying to stop that process from happening with the whole needlecraft in 2020, mRNA, trying to change your God-given DNA. Yeah, no thanks. And so that being said, a lot of people are wanting to say that, oh, RH negative is just from the Anunnaki and it's a bad thing. No, well, there's two sides of it, just like I've been saying. Why do you think that RH negative people are targeted? Why do you think they're trying to kill us off? Why do you think that we're watched the whole time? Because we're a threat. Okay? And protection comes from doing your work. This whole school / reincarnation loop, whatever perspective you want to view it from, it's all here for self-realization. When you stand in your power, they can't fuck with you anymore. I went through years of initiations, of black helicopters, of negative beings showing up. And I know this sounds crazy from people who haven't had these experiences, but I have. And it's been an ongoing thing and witnessed by many people. And I went through years of some intense shit that a lot of people cannot relate to. And it all pushed me into my power. And I know that I'm here on a mission because I have daily contact with the star people. The Lyrans, the Syrians, the Arcturians, the Pleiadians. It's nonstop. And it's not about them. Like, this is another thing I wanted to touch on. A lot of people are like looking for the work to be done for them, or for, you know, we can ask for assistance, but we got to meet them halfway. We got to be doing our work. And this time in 2025 is a choice point. What timeline are you going on? What path are you going on? It's time to let this old shit go. It's time to cut those energy cords from people that are not serving you anymore. Learn the lessons and move on. And I know that there's people who are watching this who got coerced into taking that thing back in 2020 when they threatened your job. And this can be reversed, but it's going to take some work. It's going to take detoxing. It's going to take a lot of detoxing, parasite detoxing. Like, I'll make a video on all the protocols to remove this shit from you. And I would also sit with combo and sit with the medicine path. But the human spirit is strong. We can rewrite our fallen DNA and purge the shit out of us. And, you know, they're shedding, like, everyone has this stuff in us. They're spraying it in the sky. They're trying to put it in the food supply. So everybody needs to be detoxing. Everybody needs to be eating clean. Everyone needs to be doing parasite cleanses. And I would do it the natural way with herbs rather than any pharmaceuticals. And I'll make a video about supplementation and about cleansing. But I don't want anyone to feel like there is no hope, because even some of my old clients are like, "Oh, I took it. What do I do now?" Well, You detox harder. You do cardio. You heal your body. You put extra effort in to reverse the reversals. Peace in the mind, peace in the heart, love in the mind, love in the heart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.